Hi my loves, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jess from BehatiLife. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is your weekly forecast for the week of March 26th, 2018. So this week, I'm not going to lie to you, looks to be a little bit challenging. You guys already know, for those of you guys that are old friends to the YouTube channel, that I personally don't believe that there are really such things as negative or bad transits. Everything is supposed to happen as it should. And when you know what energy you're working with, you can work your magic and work your gift in order to maximize the potential that lies in even struggle. And that's what I want for all of my subscribers and anybody that listens to me or hears my messages, to kind of gain from the readings that it is that I see and the energy that it is that I see, that of course some things are not always positive and peachy keen. Sometimes things can present some challenges, and that's one thing that I am seeing for this week. I can't ignore it. I wouldn't ignore it. You guys know I'm very, very honest with you guys with what I see and what I feel. So, of course, I'm going to bring that to this week again. So, I know for a lot of you guys, you're like, oh, shit. If Jess is starting off the video saying this, like, how bad could it get? What's going to happen? Honestly, if I'm being honest with you, I just think that this week is going to have some tension and some push-pull action going on. And I can't ignore this energy in the chart that is highlighting the need for balance. And I don't know, I did sit with this. I want to be honest with you guys. I did sit with this chart, and I did try to film this like 7 times. I'm not kidding. And as soon as I would start talking, I would I would shut up and I would get really quiet, and I would just sit with it for a minute and just think and look at the chart. And I don't want, for me, why that is because I feel like everyone is going through something different right now. And what I don't want to like narrow it to one specific thing. I want you guys to stay open to what the universe is working and what is happening and what can potentially happen and what will happen. And what I'm seeing in the chart is an imbalance, and this has kind of been set into motion for a little while now. But when the full moon comes, of course the full moons are always bringing everything up to the surface, and thank God for it, but sometimes it can be a lot. And I really want to check everyone's energy levels. I want you guys to be aware of your energy levels and to respect that, to not push yourself too much or to push anything too much if it's not balanced or if it's not working out. This full moon is going to be happening on the 31st. But when I can't help but to feel like this entire week is a build up to the energy of the 31st and the energy surrounding it. And the full moon falling in the sign of Libra naturally connects to relationships and partnerships. So not even intimate relationships, but friendships and business partnerships. But I am also feeling a need for, and I said this, I feel like I said this last week or the week before that, this energy of self-love. Yes, I did say this last week. And this space of not self-hatred, but if there's certain frustrations that have been building up, I see them kind of, brewing. I see them kind of spilling over this week. And that's normally what happens with a full moon in general, because the emotion is so high and things kind of like break down or expose themselves or reveal themselves, because astrologically the sun is on one side and the moon is on the other side. Sun represents life energy, moon represents emotion. When they oppose each other, the energy of those two signs that they're in kind of it doesn't combust, but it reveals, it shows, it highlights, it brings things to our attention. And that's one of the reasons that I love the full moon in general, because all of this stuff comes up to the surface. But I did say last week that there's this, at the very end of last week and moving into the weekend, there's this tension. And I did actually see it in my own personal life, but there's this tension and like conflict that can build up. And for some people, the word that came to me was self-hatred. Not to say that anybody was hating on themselves, but there's areas of our lives that can really frustrate us, and sometimes we internalize it. And now don't think that I'm speaking for myself here. I'm just talking in energy and in general. Some people take what I say very personally, saying that I'm, talking from my own life. I'm only looking at the chart, and the energy reveals itself in different ways. So what I see is this like conflict, and for some people it does come internally. It's, it's frustration that's built up. It's disappointment. It's I'm trying, and when is this going to break through? When is this going to happen for me? Or sometimes it manifests itself in relationships where if there is like, I don't want to say like tough blood, but if there's or bad blood between people, it almost seems like this past weekend that could have really highlighted itself, and that would present itself in conflict, fights, miscommunication, especially with Mercury retrograde. The risk of us regretting our words, or us, something falling out of our mouth, or what we say being misunderstood is just so high. I mean, Mercury rules communication, and when Mercury is retrograde, our words do get jumbled up. So that's something that we need to be aware of. Mercury being in the sign of Aries this week, retrograding in Aries, is I almost think it's like someone who, in a lot of ways, the way that I'm looking at Mercury and the way that he's sitting within his chart, it's like he wants to pick a fight with some people. And in many ways, it's like you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. There's an energy of respect. The sun falling in the sign of Aries, Mercury in the sign of Aries, Venus is going to be in the sign of Aries, but she's going to be moving out of Aries and into the sign of Taurus on the 31st, on this full moon. But it's like some people are very confident, some people are very overly confident, and I want this to be a sacred space, and I want you guys to be honest with yourself, and I want you to be honest with what's going on around you. And really what I see is a lack of respect, and there needs to be balance. People can't just get away with murder all the time. People can't just say whatever it is that they want to say. And that's what Mercury in Aries, in like currently retrograding, has a tendency to do. Sun in Aries is really bold and forward and aggressive, and the sun is being, I don't want to say attacked, but there's this tension that's been building up, and I'm seeing that this week. And I just want to make sure that the best way for you to work this energy is to work on your own personal goals and the things that it is that you want to achieve with respect to others. Now, there's some things that, for a lot of people, I know you guys are feeling this push to go. It's this drive, this ambition, and I think that that's amazing. Please act upon those impulses, act upon your passion, and channel that energy for good. But also be very aware that there are certain boundaries that are there and set and established for a very specific reason. On the flip side of that, make sure no one is overstepping your boundaries. Like, you have to have boundaries to protect yourself. You are a sacred temple. You are a garden. And you can't just have anything coming in and ripping up your flowers, ripping up your space, coming in with their bad vibes, their bad energy. They can't just come in and say things the way that they want to say, say whatever they want to say just because they just feel like they can. Again, I'm saying this speech and people being respectful is so highlighted because Mercury moving through the sign of Aries is very bold, it's very aggressive, it's very forward. And Aries in the sign of, Sun in the sign of Aries is very bold and aggressive. But when Mercury is retrograde and the Sun is being attacked, it's people who push their boundaries and say too much and do too much and don't take others into consideration, and it's no bueno. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I definitely see that there is this competitive nature that I'm also watching in this chart, and it's really irritating me for my own self. I feel like for some people, we really do push ourselves to the max in a lot of ways. There's this drive and ambition and fire in us that makes us say, okay, I want this. I'm going to go after this. I want to achieve it. And that is absolutely all well and good. But sometimes, sometimes you do have to, it's almost like someone's really pounding themselves up against a brick wall. And sometimes that energy breaks that brick wall down. Other times you're just wasting your energy, and and you don't stop. The more that you get frustrated, the angrier you get, and you just keep going in, you keep going in. Mars moving through the sign of Capricorn. Mars is our drive and our ambition, and Mars moving through Capricorn Mars loves being in Capricorn because it's like that persistence, can't stop, won't stop. But again, everyone's energy needs to be channeled in a constructive and productive way, because no matter how focused and determined you are, if you're slamming your head up against a brick wall and it's not going to open up, what you're doing more harm than good. Make sure that you are on target with what it is that you want, and you're also being respectful of others. You're in some ways, yes, again, too, like, there's so much stuff, like, guys, bear with me, because I'm trying to, like, put all of everything, like, in order and organized. But again, there's just a lot of stuff going on in the chart, and I want to, like, say it all without, like, constantly repeating myself or whatever. But I just think that in certain circumstances, to be persistent and aggressive is good and awesome. But at the same time, I'm looking at this full moon, I'm looking at the chart, and you need to know when to stop. You need to know when this is not the right time. You need to know when you're being disrespected. You need to know when, you need to maybe try somewhere else. Put that energy where it's like, going to grow, where the energy that you put in is going to build, instead of break. And I think that for a lot of relationships are going to be put under pressure this week. This is because Venus, the planet that rules love relationships, is going to be very, very close and actually sitting directly on top of Uranus. Uranus is a planet of not expansion, but erratic behavior, surprises, innovation, thinking outside of the box. But and when Venus is in Aries and sitting directly on top of Uranus, what we have is a need for independence and space, and it really does put stress and pressure on some relationships. Venus in Aries in general she likes to pursue. She likes to go after the things that she wants. She goes after the things that she wants, but on the same token, there's a level of freedom and space that is needed. And when she meets up with Uranus, it's kind of like it could go both ways. Either this is a split or a break in a relationship, or I need my space, I need my time, I need my distance. Or this could be an awesome time to go for a surprise date, or meeting someone and having electricity. It all depends on the chart and the chemistry of those two people involved. Now, I know for many of you guys, you're looking at me and you're like, Jess, that's two polar extremes. And I know Uranus is the planet that we really can't predict. It can swing right or it can swing left. We just know that it's going to swing somewhere. So at least I want you guys to be aware of what it is that you're working with, at least. I think for some partnerships that have been around for a while that are weak, they will be tested totally. Again, Mercury retrograde is bringing back things of the past, old conversations or old circumstances that, maybe we need to resolve. But on this day, on the 29th, I see the element of I need space. I can't do this, or there's a break. The other thing too is that Sun, ruling our life energy, squares off with Saturn. Saturn is commitment, responsibility, and burdens. And it's for that person to decide what is a commitment that they want to invest themselves into, and what is a burden and a responsibility that they don't want to carry. And when Sun squares off with Saturn, the tension is just so high. When Sun is squaring off with Mars, that's the action, and it's a push, and it's like, don't push me. Like, that's what it is that I'm seeing this week. It says, don't push me. Like, haven't you done enough? Haven't we? The energy of this chart is so ripe with tension, and then it all builds up on the full moon. The full moon is happening again on the 31st, and the full moon is happening in the sign of Libra. Libra is connected to equilibrium and balance and relationships. Libra naturally wants everyone to be happy, and naturally wants things to kind of flow together. But the chart itself, the full moon brings and highlights everything up to the surface. And sometimes there isn't an answer that is like that everyone wins in. Sometimes it's, I need my space, I need distance, this is not working for me, this is not respectful, this doesn't feel good, this isn't right. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of stuff being kind of highlighted is when all the planets, when many of the personal planets are crowded in the sign of Aries, it says, I need to think about me right now. And if anybody is pushing onto you, or if you're pushing yourself onto them, or there's a breakdown that needs to happen within the dynamic of a job or health. And that's another thing too. I want to make sure that everyone is taking care of themselves. The energy of this week is going to zap a lot of people of their vibe, their energy, their essence. And that's because, again, Sun ruling our life energy is in a very vital sign of Aries, but when it's being attacked and squared off by Mars and Saturn, that vitality, I have to say, if I had to give a prediction, it's because we overdid it. We did too much. We felt really, really high, and we kept on pushing. And then the very next day, we exerted ourselves. We exhausted ourselves. And now we're like crumbled up in a heap. We couldn't even pick ourselves up if we wanted to. We're very tired. We're bone tired. We're exhausted. And again, that's because our life energy, Sun, is being squared off by such serious planets such as Saturn and Mars. And I want you guys to take it very seriously. It's not a game sometimes. Like, I want you to take care of yourself. When the Libra full moon happens, yes, it's connected to relationships and partnerships, but it's more than just that. It's balance. If something is off balance, the full moon, all full moons highlight that energy and bring it up to the surface. If you have these planets that have already stressed themselves out the week before, starting from this weekend and moving into the rest of this week, building up from starting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then on the 31st when we have this full moon, what you have is stress, tension, fight, conflict, breakdown. And I'm hoping that this isn't for everybody. What I want us to do for this full moon is to bring balance into our life. Again, it's not just relationships, it's health, it's our stress, it's our vitality, it's our career, it's our service to others, it's our mental well-being, it's our self-love. Because again, last week I did say, and I did mention this energy of like self-hatred and frustration and disappointment kind of building up and brewing up and breaking people down. It's like, you know what? Libra needs to go back into a space of balance and equilibrium. And if it's not balanced, it's not right. It's not okay. And for that, again, Libra naturally wants to pair up with others. And that's when this full moon is happening in the sign of Libra. But opposite this full moon is a lot of personal planets crowded in the sign of Aries. And Aries says, me, I am. This is what I am. I am this, so I can do this. And you need to then maybe less emphasis on relationships all the time, especially if they're not balanced. Equal it out and make it a little bit more about yourself. Again, Libra naturally wants to pair up with others, but only when it's right, only when it works. And if it's not, so again, I am saying relationships again because, you know, Libra rules relationships and that partnership. But when I say partnership, also look at it as black and white. So the polarities. If you're doing a lot of work, then this full moon should probably be about you restoring yourself, especially if your energy is low and just a quiet vibration, or maybe if you need to restore your restorative energy. If you've been getting beat up and beat down by life and you need to be confident again and loving of yourself again and hopeful for the future, take time out for your spiritual self. What is it that you need to create balance within your life? So that's something that I really want that is going to be highlighted. Things are going to karmically happen for this new moon. For this full moon. You can't ignore it even if you wanted to. It's like things are designed and destined to happen. So just be open to it. I'm saying this again because you're meant to learn certain stuff in this life. This full moon this week is being aspected by the natal node. sitting in Leo. The sun is almost perfectly connected to this natal node. The natal node shows, our karma in this life, where we're destined to go, things that are destined to happen to us, things that we're meant to experience. And Mercury in retrograde, or Mercury retrograding, is trying this natal node, also bringing back conversations and thoughts and people and situations that we need to look at again. Sun, life energy, is in Aries, is going to be trying this natal node almost perfectly again. And all of these things are being highlighted and brought to our attention for a very specific reason. All that being said, Venus later on the full moon on this day, she moves out of Aries and into the sign of Taurus. I love this. This is about you in a lot of ways slowing down and taking time to smell the roses. Stop and smell the roses. Enjoy yourself. Think about luxury. Think about beauty. Think about nourishment. Think about textures and textiles, and making sure that you're comfortable, that you're cozy, that you're warm, that you feel nurtured and provided for. These are things that Venus and Taurus needs. This is an awesome shift. This is a great time for many of you guys to kind of treat yourself. I'm sorry to say it, but some people think that spending money or finances or, buying things is not spiritual. And, buying anything, everything comes in balance, everything in moderation. So if it does make you feel good to have a nice set of sheets to lay on at the end of the day, and make sure that they're nice and clean and comfy, and you have blankets and books and hot cups of tea, those are things that you need money to pay for, or maybe it comes to you as a gift. Whatever the case may be, it's okay. Whatever you need to feel luxurious, whatever you need to feel wrapped and treated really, really well, like a goddess. Venus in Taurus is truly goddess energy, earth goddess energy. Me personally, this is the perfect time on this full moon to work with the Gaia Earth Goddess oil that I have within my shop. Now that I'm even saying it, I'm realizing how much I want it and need it for myself right now. I'm definitely going to be wearing this oil for this week, and also working my own personal candle magic with it. The links for that will be down below, but really what it is connecting with earth energy and goddess energy, and nourishing yourself and taking care of yourself, and being in a space of abundance, and taking your time and reaping the reward, reaping the effort that you've put out. And that's something that it is that I'm seeing here. Balance, again, relationships, beauty, love, self-love, knowing that you're deserving, knowing that you're worth it. That's what I'm seeing after, and the day of the full moon, is this emphasis on being able to really be in a space to kind of reward yourself, and to enjoy, and to love, and to be the goddess that you are, or the god that you are. So for my men that are following the channel, so that's something that I want you guys to be aware of. And at the very end of the week on Sunday, Mercury and Sun meet. I see this as a great opportunity, even as Mercury is retrograde. I see this as a great opportunity for some people to come together, to have a good heart-to-heart, or to have, or even like good news coming in, to take initiative on a project, especially something from the past, and to get those balls in motion, get those wheels turning. Please, if you've taken this full moon to really connect with yourself, to ground yourself, and I'm saying specifically grounding yourself, because there is this need with all of these, this fire, this air, it kind of needs to be balanced. Even earth and fire together make magic together. So make sure that you can see the energy that's happening within the charts. There's a lot of fire energy going on. The Libra full moon is blowing air into it. The sparks rise. So we want to make sure that we have an earth to ground it and to protect it. Also, as Venus moves into the sign of Taurus, this is Venus and Earth together. So the two of those wonderful elements coming together for Earth energy, Earth goddess, Earth mother. Dig your feet into the soil. Get your hands in the dirt. Start planting some seeds, especially if you're working with intention. This is a great time for those that are working magic. That if you do want to work magic, the best element I think that you can work with is fire and earth. So while you're setting intentions or while you're manifesting, plant seeds and grow them. It is springtime after all. Work your oils. If you're going to work with oils, I really recommend, again, my Earth Goddess oil, a love spell, or the Libra oil, which I'll be making for the full moon. All of those links will be down below. And if I don't link them, then they will always be in the shop. You'll see them. I'm always constantly updating. Okay, so you guys take a deep breath and exhale. And just ground yourself and center yourself. Remember your worth, remember your value, remember the importance of balance, equilibrium, and that you are so deserving. And you sometimes have to protect yourself. And if you ever get to a point where you're tired and exhausted of having to defend yourself, remove yourself from the world. You don't have to do things all the time. You don't have to do everything all the time. Allow the universe, your angels, and your guides to fight your battles for you, because that's something that I'm seeing this week in the chart. It's like tension and conflict. I don't know where it's coming from for you guys or what's going on, but I just wanted you to be aware. I just wanted you to know that I see it, and that it's just this week, and next week will be better. There's going to be some shifting of the planets. I'm super excited for the full moon. I know it sounds like it doesn't seem like I'm excited because I do see this tension, but in all honesty, I do see opportunity always. And if you work with the energy, you'll be able to maximize it and work alchemy, working with the elements in order to create what it is that you need in order to create an awesome shift and change within your own personal life, okay? I love you guys. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know how this past weekend was, and maybe come back and, keep me updated. I do see all of your comments. Sometimes I can't respond to all of them, but I do see every single one of them. So just know that I'm here. You have a community here that's very supportive of you, and we're very much connected, okay? Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.